want it. We got one, we got two. I knew I saw an opportunity. Oh. I knew I saw it. I was like, we can throw these guys off, and I just rushed in there, no buff, nothing. There's a lot of things. One thing that's good about Elden Ring, like, you know, the advantage of having so much is that you also have so much things to try. That's what the PvEers love. So we still have a lot of builds to look forward to, you know. There's many things that we didn't try. And with the patches, we get some nice changes here and there. Like, don't get me wrong, like, people think I hate the last patch. I don't hate it. I think it's, like, overall, like, the patch is very positive. Don't get me wrong. It's just that if you put some perspective into it, we're over a year after the game came out, and a lot of the major issues are not addressed, so I don't want people to start being complacent. So I'd rather have it out there that I'm dissatisfied with the state. You know, we still need to improve it, so they actually do improve it, and we can actually be truly satisfied once the game is, like, fully fixed. Which, you know, it might be a pipe dream, but doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if it's copium or not. I'm still gonna try. I'm gonna, like, use my channel in the best way I can to, like, to get, like, the best feedback out there that I truly think would make the game better. We got Muda and double something. I don't know why I was expecting to 1v1 for a moment here. Naive me. Oops. Thought he would do another running. Thank you, teammate. Alright, now it's on. It's funny because that's exactly what we killed them with last time. With BS. Oh! Don't want to hit teammate now. There's no point in hitting him. Got you, bro. Dude, who was that? Good shit. Good shit, Oogie Woogie. Well played, man. Yeah, well played, dude. Good, good help. I used to be a big fan of Murakumo, especially in Dark Souls 2. Was one of my favorite weapons in Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2, though, the thing with Dark Souls 2 is you could unlock a lot of these running attacks, and your hitbox was like, it didn't fucking disappear, or like your hitbox was actually the swing of your weapon. Like in this game, there's basically no dead angle. Like in Dark Souls 2, like you actually could like dead angle by like unlocking and like hit late with your swing if it like caught the end of it. Like you can't really do any of that in this game, which is like a huge fucking like it removes so much skill out of the game. Like the fact that you cannot like dead angle shit and like unlock the hit at different timings. Like for instance here, let's pretend that it had like a hitbox the entire way. Like I'd be able to like hit that tree like later here by like attacking like to the side like that and like clipping it with the end, for instance. Or if I wanted it to hit it early, I'd hit it like to the right here. So like hit it early from here, hit it late from here. You know what I mean? But right now, like there's so little active frames that the only like active frames are like in front. Or like almost all in front. So it removes like a big skill portion out of the game. They did that with a ton of weapons. Claymore got the hilt hitbox removed. Hopefully they'll stop making Souls games for a good decade. Hell no, dude. What do you mean? Like, Souls games are like some of the best games out there. Like, we don't want to fucking for them to stop making them. We want them to actually improve on the formula. That's why, like, there's so much criticism. It's not that we don't like them. We want them to actually reach their full potential. Because there's so much untapped potential here that a lot of the players that have played through the series can notice and can see, especially with Elden Ring, with all these new mechanics. Like Elden Ring did a lot of things right, you know, the running attack priority, forward momentum, you know. You can definitely be more aggressive in Elden Ring over, like, other Souls games. Oh, it's still fucking carried over, like, the same stupid flaws. Like, they keep giving, like, some dodges, like, too many iframes. Like, you know, Dark Souls 2 had adaptability, Dark Souls 1 had the flip ring, Dark Souls 3 had quick step and blood ring. Now Elden Ring has Bloodhound step, quick step, fucking raptors, you name it. They really are stubborn with their dodge fucking options in all these games, but like if you remove some of that bullshit, like the games would be amazing. I don't know why they can't just stick to like a normal dodge that's the same for everyone, because it's too core to like the fundamental gameplay of the game. Like, I get that they want to like diversify like the options for the player. It's just that they don't realize that it breaks their game. Like, what they're doing, when they add, like, too many iframes on dodges, like, a dodge needs to be something that's tuned in, like, precisely for the game. You can't have, like, too many or too little iframes. It needs to be, like, a very specific number for the game to feel right. And, you know, I think they actually got it fairly well with the medium roll, honestly. You could argue, like, if they had, like, maybe one or two less iframes, that probably would be even better, but it's either that, but instead of like adding more iframes to roll or removing iframes to roll, I'd rather like they like add active frames to weapon so that the full swing of the weapon has a hitbox, so you can actually dead angle like I talked about earlier. I would rather have that instead, but oh well. That's probably a pipe dream, to be fair. You wish BHS and Quickstep didn't have iframes? Well, BHS I can understand because it's a distance. Quickstep, it makes no sense for it to not have iframe. You should ask for it to be removed from the game because, like, it would make absolutely zero sense to have Quickstep in the game with no iframe. So, I mean, you should pretty much ask for Dodge Ash of War to not be in the game instead. That would make more sense in my opinion. BHS, you could make an argument that it should have no iframe because it already serves the purpose of traveling a great distance fast. But for me personally, if I had to pick, obviously none of that shit would be in the game. Like, if I had to choose, like, there would be no Quickstep, no Raptors, no BHS, none of that, if I had to choose. But obviously that's not going to happen, especially now. So what's our best guess? Well, our best thing is, like, to ask for feedback for the most conceivable, doable way that could please everyone, you know? That could, like, fix it. So, like, the way to do that I see for these Dodge Ash of Wars is, first of all, reduce the distance for BHS, especially on light load. The light load BHS distance is too long. That's one. Reduce the iframes a little bit on these Ash of War so they're the same as rolling. That's another one. And then finally, remove the recovery cancel aspect of, like, you can't like recovery cancel out of a roll with BHS and Quickstep. And Raptors, like removing the recovery cancel aspect of it. If they do these three things, like, then the Dodge Ash of Wars would be like much less of a problem, a lot more bearable. Like, you wouldn't need to ban them on every tournament, and it would not be frowned upon. You'd be able to kind of use them without like thinking it's too strong. It's hard to explain to people how hard it breaks the game. Well, like I said, like, these games, like, even PvE-wise, like, let's take the PvP aside for a second, and even PvE-wise, let me give you, like, a very concrete example. When you're on horseback against foot soldiers, right, you can slide by enemies and they really have no chance of ever catching you, because the horse speed is, like, way too fast compared to the speed of enemies, which is why, like, you can skip through the entire game and PvE won't be able to catch up to you. It's because the speed of the horse is too fast. The distance you travel, you know, it's too quick. The enemies can't keep up with it. It's the same thing for something like light roll. Like the bosses, the enemies, like their moves can't keep up with such a large dodge distance. The game was just not designed for it. And so what that makes it, like what happens there is that you don't have to time your dodge anymore, because that's kind of the whole point of the game. You don't have to time your dodge anymore. You can panic it and you'll end up so far from your target that you'll already be out of range. And so that takes away like the whole challenge portion away from the game, and it just becomes a button mash, where you just have to mash dodge to get away from an attack. And it's the same thing that happens with PvP. Like the same interaction in PvP and PvE happens. It breaks the fundamental core aspect of the game, which is precisely timing your dodges and precisely assessing the distance between you and your opponent. So distance, spacing, and dodging and timing, right? So those are the core pillars of all Souls games. And with fast dodge Ash of War that travels either further, that has a ton of iframe or recovery cancel, that makes it so that you're a way to just mash out of stun, out of getting hit, or panic as soon as you see like any movement, and you get away with it. So it's just not good. It doesn't teach people how to play the game. It's like a get out of jail card for like anyone who really sucks at them. It's and then when it comes to like good players, if you give that to a good player, they can legitimately nullify certain setups. So if like for instance I was to play against Kestis even before the patch, if I put on BHS, like it's like a shutdown, because the Kestis can't roll catch anymore with the running attack, so, and it can't reach with the R2 either. So like for instance, if before the patch, when it had the vortex, right? If you just BHS out of like Kestis stun, there is nothing that the Kestis can do to actually catch you. So every single time you get hit, you can BHS out, right? That's why it's a hard counter. It takes like the skill portion of having to like guess the timing, guess the distance, like rolling to the side, all that stuff. It takes it all away, because you just need to BHS once, and then you're far enough from danger, you can just panic do it every single time. That's why it breaks the game, really. Both PvE and PvP, same thing. At this point, though, it was like, I remember at the beginning of the game, we asked for, like, I don't know if you guys remember how, like, broken Bloodhound Step was when the game came out. It gave, like, infinite iframes. And people were suggesting that they only let, like, daggers use it and small weapons, like have, like claws and daggers have BHS and quickstep. And I said that that's not going to be a valid fix, and that was true at the time. Like infinite iframe, no matter on what weapon you have it, it's just not good. But right now, though, with the current BHS and quickstep, right now it would actually be a good fix. It was not back then. God damn it. Well, I'm lucky it did DL1. It was not back then, but it is absolutely now. Oh, meteors. Let's get out of there. It's Golden Vow. Maybe not. Makes no sound.